Welcome to Tally Talks, a podcast to ramble about Tally Hall. I'm your host, Emma, and today's episode is sponsored by my music obsession. Today I'm joined by the AmaZing PurpleGirl. If you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, it's very happy for you to have me. I'm AmaZing PurpleGirl. People generally refer to me as Purple or Purple Girl. I think a lot of people know this. I'm a mum. I have one child. He's a son. Love of the sun, you know?
Whoa!
Yes,
Tally Hall
exactly,
reference!
straight off the bat. And I have been a Tally Hall fan properly since last year, but I got to know the band in 2021.
Oh, nice. Yeah, those are all the same time that I got into the band as well. I know you've been making some sort of different Tally Hall content on your
Yeah,
YouTube channel, and I have like guess this Tally Hall song, and then also
yeah,
recently with all the news, you've had some different sort of theory type videos. What
yeah.
inspired you to start making those?
So I lurk on Reddit, and the
Nice.
first lyric video I made was about Spring in a Storm because people were saying, oh, they like Spring in a Storm. They don't like the blah blah blahs. They find them a bit silly and a bit of a filler. And I'm of the opinion that the blahs are very important to the song because it's bringing down the singer and the singer's trying to tell a story or tell how he feels in song. So that's where that started. And then I went to Take 'Em for a Ride because, again, it's a song people find the meaning quite hard. And I felt I've got a hang of it. I'd love to know from Andrew if I'm right, but that's never going to happen. Then I moved on to And because again, people were confused about the is it the outro where he starts off Big Bad Betty of the
Yeah,
Apocalypse.
yeah.
So I was like, well, surely that's a bomb. And sure enough, in the 50s, they had a nuclear bomb which was nicknamed Betty.
Hmm.
So again, I think that's where Joe was coming from. And then I don't know if I'm going to do any more, but I did Murders because I feel people take the forest setting a bit literally. And in my opinion, it is all an analogy for this relationship. I feel they've been in this relationship for a long time, and then the song is just saying how the relationship fell apart.
Right.
And I did shout out another YouTuber called Luxy Hugs, who is actually doing all of Hawaii Part 2 analysis. And it was them who explored this idea that Simon is actually being kind of possessed by Apollo. And it was like that sort of cemented the idea that Simon wasn't framed, that he did commit the murder,
Hmm.
but he wasn't himself. So
Dang.
those
Yeah.
are my lyric videos.
That's awesome. Yeah, especially with Hawaii part two. The like theorizing can go deep on that one.
Yeah, that video actually did really well for my videos that aren't that aren't just silly edits.
So, because you had mentioned like really getting into the band this past year, so were you kind of already like thinking about the theories and stuff since 2021, or?
Uh no, not at all. So my first introduction to Tally Hall was via Friday Night Funkin' of all things.
Let's go.
Um, yeah, I was really into the game and into the mods that were on YouTube, and someone did a mod using Ruler of Everything, and I was captivated by this song immediately, and I needed to know more about this. They credited Tally Hall, thankfully, so I was able to find their Tally Hall's YouTube channel, and I found Ruler of Everything. I also found Turn the Lights Off, but I didn't look any further. I kind of got stuck with Ruler of Everything. Um, I found Ruler on a 1 hour loop video and I just played it.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I fell in love with Rule of Everything. But for some reason I didn't really like I didn't listen to their albums and I regret that massively.
Oh.
I should absolutely have got back into the band properly back then. Um, I can't remember seeing the coloured ties, but I must have done because when Youtooz did their campaign back in August last year, I instantly remembered the name and recognised the coloured ties, and I'm like, "That's the Rule of Everything, guys." So that was it. August, I fell into the Tally Hall hole.
Because so it's like ruler of everything and the Youtooz plushies. Pretty
Yeah,
much. That's
yeah.
great. I've seen you've taken some like different photography type things with your plushies too.
Yeah. I was inspired by another Twitter user called Silly Goose on the Loose, I think it is. I just call her Goose.
Nice.
And she's a mum like me, so we've actually got quite a bit in common. She's actually younger than me. I don't tell people how old I am, but I do say I'm a bit older than Joe. So that kind of gives people, if you know how old Joe is, then you know rough ballpark of where I am. So yeah, she's I think she's a year younger than I am. So we're really, very similar ages, both into Tally Hall, both mums. But she's American, so she's a mom, and I'm British, so I'm a mum. But she started off making these photos. She did some like recreations of classic Tally Hall photos, whereas I did some Beatles ones and I did a Madness one where they're all falling over. That was not easy. It looks easy. That was not an easy photo to post. Trying to get them to sort of stay upright diagonally. So I haven't tried to like copy her, but I've done like my own recreations, and then I've just done generally photos of them in the office, and more recently I've been bringing them home. So I've got Zubin, he's the only one I've got at home at the moment. The other guys are in my office.
That's awesome. Like, do you think like I feel like Youtooz was kind of hinting that they might do a second batch. Do you think that's going to happen? And if so,
Mm.
are you going to get another?
Um, well, today I posted on my community tab that on Twitter, someone asked, not Youtooz, but Youtooz News, who are like, they report everything about Youtooz, and they said the Youtooz are talking to Tally Hall and talking about ideas. So to me, it sounds like there's no doubt we're getting a second wave. Don't know if it's going to be plushies, because Youtooz are actually more known for their figures, and I've got more figures than plushies. It could still be plushies, but yeah, whatever they bring out, yeah, I'm going to buy them. I've got all of them, but I need more.
Yeah, it was my first time getting a Youtooz for Rob, but I've had a friend who has a lot of the all of the collectibles on shelves just everywhere.
Yeah, like I say, I haven't got many of the actual plushies. I've got some FNAF ones, and I've got a Dorco one, if you know Dorco. He's like a big Five Nights at Freddy's YouTuber. He-
Okay.
he's probably on a par with Markiplier these days, and it's Markiplier who actually got me into Five Nights at Freddy's.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you been just like into YouTube for a while then, or?
Uh yeah, I mean, I started watching like long plays of games that I used to play 7 years ago. And then um my son was talking about Five Nights at Freddy's because he'd got introduced to it for a friend. Let me just say he wasn't particularly old at the time, so he probably got into it a bit young. And I'd actually had heard of the game, but I didn't know much about it. I'd seen it on Steam on a sale, and Steam do like a little preview clip of the game, and I still didn't quite get it, but it's like I don't think this is a game for me because I'm not great with like having to do things on reflex, if you see what I mean.
Right.
So no problem with jump scares. I love horror films and I like scary games. So it was this is going to be quite specific. It was Easter 6 years ago, and I was looking up Five Nights at Freddy's videos on YouTube, and Markiplier was the first one that came up. And I just fell in love with Five Nights at Freddy's and Markiplier all at the same time. And I subscribed to him pretty quickly, and I joined as a member of his channel later that year. So yeah, it'd be 6 years this year that I've been a member of his channel. So he was like my first sort of YouTube, I won't say obsession, but kind of
Fascination.
I don't know. It's hard to say. But yeah, he's actually where I started making edits. I actually learned about OBS from him. He was talking about it probably in one of his member videos in his live streams. And I also looked up editing software and sort of self-taught, not self-taught, taught myself to edit videos that I was making. So this was 2 years ago. And I was like, great, I can make Let's Plays. So that's where I started. And like I say, Mark was the first edits that I made. And then once I got into Tally Hall, it was like, hey, I can make Tally Hall edits. And I started with it was Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, the TV series. And I did a bit of Banana Man
Very nice.
to the visual.
I also saw there was some Happy Monster band edits.
Yeah,
I love edits of Tally Hall songs to Happy Monster Band. It's
yeah.
so great.
Well, the scare up some fun really goes with turn the lights off.
Yes. I remember at one point there was like a meme circulating around where it's like, oh, welcome to Happy Monster Band. And then the band rises on stage and they just start playing the Mind Electric.
Brilliant. I've not actually seen that one, I have to say.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's on YouTube or if it was just circulating on Discord for a while. There was a point in 2021 where I was very active in a lot of different Tally Hall areas, and so there was lots of things. um, yeah, yeah. I guess for me, do you have sort of a favorite Tally Hall song now, or is it
No,
kind of
it's
like,
still Rule of Everything.
beautiful?
Yeah. It's just like it's such a weird song the way it's paced. It starts out normal and then it's like these two guys are talking to each other. I mean, obviously I know what the meaning is now, but back then when I first
Right.
heard it, it's like, what are they talking about? Draconian plans, what? And then of course you get to the rapping and it's like, what is this song? And it absolutely captivated me. And I can recite the rapping part if I do a
Let's
deep
go.
breath first. Took me a while, but
Yeah, it's a lot of syllables in a short amount of time.
yeah. I mean, I kind of flub flibbity gibbety jibber jabber because that is a mouthful and I
Same.
don't know how they do it.
Same. Same. Yeah, and then seeing the live performances is really crazy too because then
Yeah.
Joe has his megaphone and then he's just dying at the
Yeah.
end.
Oh, lovely breath. And that also goes for it's Praise You, isn't it? Where it's like I think Rob was trying to take over from Joe and Joe's like, no, no, I can and Rob's like, you got this.
Yeah, there's so many great Tally Hall covers out there too, and it's just
Mm.
like a shame that they don't have really a compilation because I would really listen to
Oh
that.
no, absolutely. I love Smile Like You Mean It. I think that's my
Yes.
favorite cover.
That one made me tear up, but like, oh,
Yeah.
this is so good.
It's what I call bombastic, their spin on it.
Very nice. Yeah, I would agree. That one's just really good. It's just fun when they have like Tally Hall spins on all these different
Mm.
songs too. Um yeah, I was also just greatly entertained by oh, which one was it? The Flo Rida one.
Oh,
Um
Club Can't Handle Me. Yeah, I
exactly.
love that as
Yes.
well.
That one's just really goofy. I also love that that's just sort of like one of the last things on the channel before they evaporated. You go back and you look at it and like, oh, Tally Hall.
I love Rob's part where he says, never won a Grammy, but I got a grandma.
Yes.
So Rob. I'd get on really well with Rob. We have got such a similar sense of humor.
Maybe one day. You never know, man. You never know.
Unlikely. Like Rob,
He'll just
Rob,
show up in the UK.
you need to release another album and then tour Europe and come to the UK because I would be there.
He drops a new album and only tours in the UK.
Oh yes. Wind up every American.
But yeah, do you have like, because I think by now it's kind of confirmed that Andrew's working on the new album with Illicit Ghost. But yeah, do you feel
Yeah.
like Rob might still be cooking up something or
Well, I did watch the stream of the Ghost and Molly McGee charity thing, and he did say he was working on songs that were for adults, not for TV or film. So, and obviously with
Hmm.
the show being cancelled, he's hopefully got more time, although he's obviously still a dad and he's still working on Pupstruction. But I hope so. I really hope he does. What I'd love is him to release these songs that have been found variously over the internet, like Cuckoo,
Yes.
Going Purple. Um, it's absolutely amazing to me that they have just found the full what do you call it, version of Going Purple. But at the same time, that song is very dark. It's so dark. It is like Cannibal, very similar theme.
Yeah, I think I've only heard like the snippet of it from before,
Oh
so I'll
no,
have
they
to.
found it like three
Oh
months
man,
ago.
man.
I'll have to send you. I'll have to send you the link.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
great. I almost have like this gap of Tally Hall knowledge of like the past 2 years.
yeah,
I like know a lot before then, and I know a lot after, but I had no idea they found the full thing.
yeah. No, it was mind blowing. It's like, well, where's this been hiding? The person who uploaded it hasn't said anything in in the detail in the description and turned comments off.
Huh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it is interesting. It's like, where did you find this?
Like the lost media searches when it comes to Tally Hall is really, really wild. It's just impressive. It makes me happy to see all of these searches going on, and I am very
Yeah.
thankful for Ruby for documenting all of these different
Oh,
recent concert things too.
yeah, absolutely. And she's still going to, I think she's going to Boston. I don't think she's going to Washington. I'm sure she said she was only going to two out of three. So we should get some more footage from Boston. And she's going to Sonic Lunch. So, you know,
Yay.
I'll be there in theory, in spirit. Totally out of the question for me.
Yeah. But yeah, but for me, I hope to go to Sonic Lunch and then get to go to Marvin's before it's gone. I
Oh,
mean, they'll
yeah.
relocate. They'll relocate, but still. That was one of my longtime things, but I was like, oh no, I have to do this
Yeah,
soon.
yeah. No, it's good that, the fans are aware and people like you can obviously go and make the pilgrimage. I'd love to go one day, whatever form it's in. And I will try to get to Michigan one day, but it's like it's really it's sad that even though they signed with Atlantic, they didn't make it over to my shores because then I
Hmm.
would have heard them in 2008
Oh
and they would have
man.
been exactly my kind of jam. But no, I know it didn't work out, which is just really sad. And I wonder what would have happened if they'd stuck with them. But then I don't think I'd be making the content I make now if I had got into them back then.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think whole part of like I think there's definitely an aspect of the combination of like the lost media searches and then also the fact that they haven't been active for so long that it adds this whole other layer of like curiosity and sort of building fandom around
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
I'm curious jumping back to sort of like Rob lost media things. I had stumbled across it's archived in Tally All, but there was a song called The Animator that he wrote
Oh,
about
yes.
the so I hadn't heard that before, but then I found it and I was like, oh man, this is also a banger.
Yeah. I heard that. The video I found, well, it was actually a playlist and it had like the instrumental and then it had vocals separately. I don't know if that's how it comes on the cassette that they produced.
I think that person had isolated both of them like for their own purposes. I could
Yeah.
be wrong, but like you'd get it by buying the full album or whatever on Bandcamp, and that's
Mm.
kind of a secret track in there. But
Oh, okay.
it's also a very, very fitting song for Rob working with Disney too. I mean,
Yes.
obviously they had the connection with that animator who was on like the Ghost and Molly McGee and Happy Monster Band.
That's it. He wrote it for Steve Loader, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's really nice. Birthday, I think it was. So it's like, what better birthday present than a song? I think that's so nice. It's like he must like really think a lot of the guy to write a song for him.
Yeah. And I think he was the one who animated Hidden in the Sand
That's right, yeah.
too. Yeah.
Because it was Drew Mokis who did Turn the Lights Off, and that's their two animated ones, obviously.
Oh yes.
I remember finding Turn the Lights Off, and I was just like, "What the heck is this video?"
I think it was in 2021 they had like released the storyboards for it and it's just beautiful because you get all of the really like scribbly versions of the drawings. You know, you could get a lot of reaction images from the Turn the Lights Off storyboards. But yeah, it definitely has the feeling of like you open a children's book or like it looks sort of like a children's book almost, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's just so bizarre. You're like, all right. What is your like? What are your thoughts on sort of all of the different Tally Hall music videos, or maybe not all of them, since that might be a while. But are
It's
like,
not
what are
that
some?
many.
Right. I mean, there's not too many. I guess I was sort of looping in like Joe Holly, and
Mm,
Miracle Musical into that one since there's a handful there
yeah.
too. But I guess maybe for the primary Tally Hall ones, like, what are some of your thoughts you have on those music videos?
Well, we my son and I watched Banana Man for the first time together, and it freaked him the hell out. He absolutely hated the makeup and the ping pong eyes. I was just like, okay, interesting. But the bit that makes me laugh in that video is where Joe's dancing and he's obviously having trouble with the ping pongs because he sort of goes and tips his head back to put the ping pong balls back. Like, that shouldn't be in there, but okay.
I love that that's like one of like Joe's like finals too for one of his film
Mm,
classes. He's like, I'm going to submit this video.
like, I'm on a gurney being wheeled around a mental hospital. Don't worry about it. I did I did an edit. I don't know if anybody else had done it. I think it was earlier this year. I did the 2008 audio of Banana Man to the music video, and I found that the 2008 version is shorter. So it was fun trying to like work out where I needed to make the cuts. Thinking it was not easy. It again, it looks like it's something that would have been easy. It wasn't easy. And then I like The Whole World and You. It's such a charming little video, although assassination.
But What a lovely, lovely assassination video.
Whimsy up till that point. Although he is painting the gun. So
Right, right.
I watched that one just the other day again, and it was like, oh yeah, I forgot he's painting the gun.
Yeah, with this one, with that one, I'm curious if you have a theory, because it's like a crank machine type
Yeah.
puppet show. So then the question is like, was the assassination always part of the puppet
Hmm.
show?
I mean, I think there's some manipulation going on in that video, and I don't feel it actually matches the song because the vibe of the song feels very different to the vibe of the video. Whereas Banana Man totally matches.
Right.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like say the puppeteer is like the one controlling what's going on in that box.
Yeah, and then it just has a lot darker of a story than what the song feels like.
Exactly. And Andrew says that it's just a whimsical song. There's nothing to read into it. And it's like, but with that video, Andrew, seriously.
I mean, it's kind of like how Joe Hawley did the music video for At the End for
Oh
Edu, and
yeah.
it just like has like the balloons full of blood, and you're
Yeah,
like, what's going
I
on?
know. It's like, yeah, if you didn't know that was done by Joe, you know that was done by Joe.
But yeah, but it is really interesting though, because yeah, totally Tally Hall can definitely be all over the place.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like, Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum is such a perfect name for the first album because the attractions in Marvin's are very much like that.
Yeah, so you got like the spaghetti bath on one hand and then the
Right.
executioner. So yeah, I see what you're saying. I definitely found out about Hawaii Part 2 as part of being in Tally Hall fandom. It's like um it's basically people on Reddit saying, "Oh, if you like Tally Hall, then you might like this." And that's also how I got into Lemon Demon and Willwood as well, because
Oh,
they're always the
nice.
names that come up in relation to Tally Hall. But yeah, Lemon Demon, I absolutely. In fact, I know we talk about Tally Hall, but the funny thing about Lemon Demon is that so I'd heard Ultimate Showdown, gosh, before I got back into Tally Hall, probably around May last year. And then when people were saying try Lemon Demon, it's like, okay, I'll try other songs. But then I actually found Neil Cicierega's YouTube channel, and I actually was like, oh my God, I love this YouTube channel. This is so my stuff. So listening to the music was like a byproduct of finding the YouTube channel. And it's like I think I prefer Neil's videos to his music, but I absolutely adore his music. So
Yeah, he's really just a master of just a bunch of different random things.
oh my God, yes. And then it was like, so from his YouTube channel, I found out that he is Puppet Pals. And my son had been telling me about Potter Puppet Pals for about a year or two before this. And I went, you are absolutely kidding me. That's the puppet guy. And I think that's the reaction a lot of people have as well.
They'll be like, "Wait, Neil is that guy? He did that thing?"
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, yeah, Tally Hall is one iceberg, and then Neil Cicerega is just a whole nother level.
No, totally. And then Willwood's the other one.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Willwood is also pretty great. I just feel like Neil's like impact on the internet in general is unmatched,
Oh
but he's
yeah.
still like somewhat not super well known despite that. So it's just
No, I know.
really interesting.
I I I don't know anyone who knows Lemon Demon except for people I've talked to, like my sister. It's like you need to try it. Actually, what I tried her on first was one of his mashups from I think it's Mouth Sounds track called Floor Corn because she likes Bodies, the song. Um and and she was like, oh my God. So she did enjoy that. So I was like, yeah, I knew you would. And I got my mum to listen to Hawaii Part 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. she liked the first four songs. Then she was like, not sure about murders. I thought she'd like murders because it's a nice sound,
Yeah.
even though it's not like a happy song.
Right, right.
And then she said, oh, she liked the last two songs. So I can understand why she wouldn't like, well, Labyrinth particularly, hip hop. But I can understand why she wouldn't have enjoyed Time Machine so much because of the vocoding.
Mm,
It's like, yeah, I definitely prefer the demos where you can hear Rob's voice.
right. Yeah, and then the Mind Electric is half reverse, and so people are like, what's going on?
Exactly. I love Mind Electric all the way through. I never skip the reverse part. It's like it's a whole thing.
Yes.
And part of my, well, towards the end of my murders video, I talked about how it connects to the Mind Electric. And in fact, obviously that was the title I went with in the end because I put a poll on my community tab saying, what is the best title? And it was like, as I was writing the script, it struck me I had to talk about the Mind Electric because there is a resolve to what's going on with Simon from murders in the Mind Electric. And I've always been of the opinion that the reverse part is him going through the trial, not comprehending what's happened. And so he's not taking in anything. And then obviously the going forwards part is him gaining clarity, but it's still very glitchy.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely the similar vibes that I had for it, was just like
Yeah.
the whole reverse part is it's like you just don't understand what's going on yet. You sort of hear these voices which aren't reversed from all these different cryptic samples,
Yeah.
but you're like, and then it hits it and then it's still very confusing.
Yeah, that's it. But it's like the blahs in Spring in a Storm. It's like you can't
Right.
have the Mind Electric without the reverse part.
Exactly.
Although a lot of people do.
Yeah, yeah. And it's valid if they don't want to listen to reversed noises for 3 minutes on a playlist, but
No, that's
still.
true. What I find interesting is that Miracle Musical decided to make the lyric video the reversed part played forwards. Like,
Right.
why?
It's like, what does this mean?
Exactly. It has to mean something. It's, I think they're saying this is important. So I'm going to make you listen to it, whether you like it or not. And it was when it was going so. That's when I was like, hang on, this is actually the reverse part playing forwards. So yeah, it's like odd choice, but you know, it's an odd album. I think we
Yeah.
have to admit that.
Yeah, yeah. I also find interesting with the lyric video how blinding it is. I remember watching it at like night and then kind of regretting it afterwards on
Whoops.
my phone. I was like, okay, I just still see all of the words in my vision now.
Yeah. As I was just going to say, it's interesting that cower and pray, and it has both spellings of pray, and it's like, yeah, but surely you're saying pray for your life, so surely it is just Pray.
But then it's like, but then are you implying that you are prey? You know, like then
Yeah,
it's kind of like, sun and sun,
yeah.
I guess.
And of course, I said that it's both types of sun. I was a bit wary about making my and video because obviously I compared it to an 80s song, which was I Won't Let the Sun Go Down on Me by Nick Kershaw. I am a big Nick Kershaw fan, but I just didn't feel I could talk about what I wanted to talk about without not comparing, but bringing bits of that song in. And I really hope it didn't put people off.
Oh.
So you can't see I'm wearing my Good and Evil t-shirt.
Oh, let's go. Let's
Yeah, I got
go.
that. That's not bootleg. I got that from Ann Arbor Tees. So my only one. I keep meaning to get the t-shirt, but it's like I keep spending my money on vinyl.
Fair. Do you have the Tally Hall vinyls? Or
I have the 2008 Marvins, which I acquired not too long ago, and I was very happy with the price. I did a negotiation. I got sent an offer. So eBay now, it's like if you look at something, you don't have to interact with it at all. Just look at it, and it's like, hey, we're going to send you an offer. So I did get sent an offer, and I did accept it. And I've got Good and Evil Rejected Test Pressing. So it's the
oh,
one
nice.
that's got Sacred Beast without the whistling. Again, found that on eBay because it was cheaper to buy it there than it was to buy from Needle Juice. Yeah, especially with shipping. Yeah, it was a seller in the UK. So I've got the Marvin's picture disc, the Mr. Moon and Mr. Sun. I've got one variation which is the matching ties of Marvin's. I've got almost all the 7 inches. So that's all the vinyl. Ruby, bless her, has sold me Hawaii Part 2, so I'm finally getting that on vinyl. Yeah.
Let's go. Is it the brown one?
No, it's the tan one.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like cream but a little bit darker. I don't I wouldn't have a problem having the brown one any variation. I'm so excited to get that.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and I pre-ordered the Good and Evil ones that Needle Juice are repressing. Yeah, no, they're such a great label. And obviously the first time I knew about them wasn't Tally Hall, it was Friday Night Funkin'.
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so it's like I already knew about Needle Juice. So when I saw that they're the ones that Tally Hall are with, it's like, oh, excellent. Ruby's also sold me Just a Friend, but it's the black splatter because you cannot get that anywhere. And the Silent Explosives variation of Marvin's.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
I haven't yet.
Oh, okay. So it's a mystery.
It's kind of a mystery, yeah. I mean, she has shown pictures of her complete collection because she's got them all now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. I
Yeah,
was like, wow.
I know. No, I'm got a very exciting package when it's coming my way. So I wasn't gonna be a collector, but I'm definitely not gonna collect all of Marvin's. It's like, no. I just like a few different variations and I'll be quite happy.
Do you have like a bookshelf or something or
I have a vinyl case, one for my 12 inches and one for my 7
Oh,
inches,
nice.
but my 12 inches kind of full. And I'm
Oh.
just looking, I have about 10 records just sitting over there, nowhere to go. So I need to do something with them. Obviously, they can't just sit there, but I keep
Fair.
buying vinyl. And my husband was like, are you sure this case is going to be big enough? And I'm like, yeah, yeah. Like, more vinyl came for you. Oh, did it? Wonder why.
What a
Yeah.
surprise. Yeah, but it is fun though. I love physical media and I love what they've been doing with just vinyl in general nowadays with all the
Mm.
different designs and stuff. It just looks really pretty.
It's so funny because I've said it in my unboxing videos, but it's like I was around not when vinyl started, I'm not that old, but vinyl was definitely around when I was young. And I remember CDs coming out sort of generally. Cassettes were around again before I was born, but they were a thing again. The pain of cassettes when the tape got cut. And now a new generation's learning that pain as well.
Yeah.
Uh, but it was like, oh, and especially mini discs. Minis were not a big format at all. Mini discs were more for recording your own stuff onto.
Hmm.
So when vinyl got taken over by cassette and cassette got taken over by CD, and then CD got taken over by digital, and it was like, oh, okay, so we don't need to worry about this stuff anymore. and now it's coming back. And it started with vinyl. But CDs have never really been away. I mean, you've always been able to buy CDs, but I don't think people buy them as much as they did, when I was a teenager.
Right.
But obviously, it's like I'm building up a collection again now. And that's a few that I've got. I've got the original Marvin, not the 2005, got 2006 Marvins, and the Digipack Good and Evil on CD. And then I've obviously got the Needle Juice ones, and I managed to get the Error ones as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I was really pleased about that. So Needle Juice tweeted out that they had these and to join the Discord. So that's what I did. And that's why I joined the Discord.
And the Hidden in the Sand Discord seems like a really cool place for Tally Hall.
Yeah, I like being in there. Yeah. And then there's I don't know if you heard of the Tally Hall project.
I I heard of like because that's where they're like making a bunch of things to send to the band,
Yeah, that's
right?
right.
Yeah, so I heard of it. I just don't know a whole lot about it.
Yeah. Oh, in fact, it's the Tally project, not the Tally Hall project. But I joined their Discord and I submitted a couple of pieces of art in there. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I did. I I wanted to. I do a bit of drawing. I'm not like a great artist at all, especially faces. I'm rubbish at drawing faces. But I wanted to draw the Hawaii Part 2 cover for ages. And so I bought this sketchbook, which has got a blank cover specifically so that you can draw your own art on the cover. And I'm like, excellent. Now I know what I'm going to draw on it. So yeah, I drew that. That's in my community tab, quite far back. What were we discussing last night? It was it was what Tally Hall songs do you think are underrated? And it wasn't, it was it can be Tally Hall or side projects. And I said, well, Sketches 3D really.
Sketches 3D as a whole is so underrated.
Yeah.
Like, I love that album so much, and I'm so excited that Andrew is making more stuff
No,
because
totally.
I just love all of the vibes in those one. Like, it's so good.
Mm. What's your favorite song from Sketches 3D?
Oh man, I love Lemons and Pears, which
Yeah.
is like one of the more popular ones too, and it had been Misfortune
Yes.
before.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, that one just really had connected with me. I'm like, "Oh man." But I also really like at the end, Miss Melody also just it makes me happy but also want to cry sort of.
Yeah.
Like
I like Hey You. It's just so uplifting.
yeah, and Hummingbird. Like I just love
Mm.
all of the songs for different reasons.
Yeah.
And then also the Rainbow Connection cover. I
Oh
think about
yeah.
that a lot.
Have you seen the video of him with the Gregory brothers?
Oh yeah, doing
Oh
it in the
my
minor
God.
key.
It's like
Oh
so
man.
emo. Andrew wants to kill me, I swear.
But yeah, that's definitely one of the ones almost like on par with like, The Whole World and You being darker. It's like
Mm.
Rainbow Connection should not be in a minor key, but they did it. I
Yeah.
don't know how to feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, very emo.
It's like now that video that now connects Tally Hall to Markiplier because of course they've done a few of his songs.
Oh man.
It's like these videos, seriously, they just come up in my recommended all the time. It's like, what? So I love I'm in disbelief how the quizzes have like sort of hit the Tally Hall consciousness fandom, obviously. And the first quiz that I did, so in the description I did put where the inspiration came from, and I can't remember the name of the YouTube channel off the top of my head, but he does Beatles content, and
Mm.
he did a 2 seconds or less Beatles quiz, and I was like, this would work with Tally Hall. And he also did the reverse one, so it wasn't me going, oh, I'll do reverse now. It was this same guy. I think it's David Anderson piano, David someone piano.
Okay.
Um, and again, he just came up in my recommended one day.
Like, I
So
heard you like the
yeah,
Beatles.
yeah, that's it. Like YouTube's like, you like the Beatles? Like, yeah. How do you know? So yeah, that
Yeah.
that first quiz, I don't know if some people have gone in like multiple times, but it's got over 16,500 views. So it's like, I guess that's where people know me. And I've been very fortunate. So 2 years ago, like I say, I taught myself to record and edit footage, and I was doing Let's Plays. And as of December last year, I was under 50 subscribers, and I managed to get to 50 just before Christmas. And now I just hit 400. And it's like,
Congratulations.
thank you. It's like, wow, what am I doing right?
The Tally Hall fandom found you.
That that's it exactly. So it's like they're seeing my quizzes and my very stupid edits, and then it was like, well, I could talk about lyrics, so made a few of those. And then yeah, like you say, with the plushes, that's obviously more my community tab. But I've got people who regularly stop by and leave comments on my pictures.
Yeah, they're very fun. I was looking through them the
Thank
other
you.
day. You're welcome.
It's like it's trying to keep the ideas up. So, like I say, I've got Zubin at the moment, um, and then it's only Ross and Andrew I've got left to bring home, and it's like, what do I do different with these guys? I haven't got a piano for Andrew to play, so that's
Aw.
out. I haven't got drums for Ross.
That's fun. It's just it makes me happy that there's just so much Tally Hall content being made and then also people watching it. Like
Yeah,
there's still it's still going. It's still going
no,
and it's
exactly,
cool.
and I love it. I mean, it's like it's. I didn't. I mean, obviously with the subscribers going up, but maybe going back to the beginning of the year when I was like say just over 50, I didn't realize that people were starting to recognize my channel brand, as it were, because obviously my logo is just something that I made in paint.
Love Microsoft Paint.
And it's the rainbow and then the P in the purples. And obviously I love purple. So that's why it's purple. um Sorry, just going on off on a tangent. So um AmaZing PurpleGirl just came up out of nowhere. I started my first channel, and that was literally just to make videos to show my family because they're living down south and I'm living further away. Uh, so I started the first channel in 2007, and then I lost the login. So I
Oh
made
no.
I made another one the same year as Hawaii Part 2 came out, actually, 3 days
That's cool.
after. So they're the 12th of December, and my channel is started on the 15th.
Oh man.
Or was it 3 days before? It was 3 days.
It's really
Yeah.
close.
It's like, and yet I still never found out about it until last year.
A coincidence.
Um, so yeah, it was like I love purple. Um, and yeah, okay, so I was probably cringy because I wasn't a teenager, but amazing. It's like I'm amazing. I'm gonna be amazing. This channel's gonna be amazing.
Let's
I think I
go.
had
Let's
4 subscribers till about 2 years ago,
go.
but I wasn't making content, so that's fair.
Right.
Um, yeah, so like say, just this morning I got a notification that someone replied to my comment, and it was actually so going back to Will Wood, he did a song with Schaefer James called The Ferryman.
Yes.
Absolutely
Yes.
adore that track. That came up on, I think it was Amazon Music as a recommendation because obviously been listening to Will, and yeah, fell in love with it instantly. And then a couple of days ago, the music video actually came up in my YouTube recommendation. I'm like, where have you been? So I commented. I basically said, oh, this is finally been recommended to me and I love this song. And then this morning, somebody replied to that comment saying, "Oh, it's you. I know you from your channel." And I'm like, what? So it is weird being recognized around YouTube. But it's like, but if you know me from my channel, you must know I love Will.
Right.
It's like what places you expect to see me? Tally Hall content, Lemon Demon content, Will content. And somebody made a video on Good and Evil, the whole album, and I think my comment was along the lines of, it's good to see someone's interpretation of an album that's not Hawaii Part 2. And they replied, "You know you've made it when AmaZing PurpleGirl leaves a comment on your video." I was just like, what? What do you mean? So that to me was absolutely crazy. It's like, I'm just a fan like you. And I was like, no, no. Like, yes, I'm here, but I'm not a celebrity. And considering, like say, I'm absolutely overwhelmed by the amount of subscribers I've got, but I'm still really tiny compared to guys like you and Talibor and Project YBTFC, who, if people watch her and go to her community tab, they will know she goes to school with my son.
She does?
He
I
does.
didn't know that.
Yeah. So she was singing Welcome to Tally Hall one day, and he turned round. He already knew her, and he goes, "Tally Hall." And she's like, "Yes." And he's like, "My mum loves Tally Hall and she makes YouTube videos." And I have been recommended one of her, if Tally Hall says X, the song goes to the next track. And she had been watching my video.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So it's quite funny. We're watching each other's videos, having no clue that we've got a mutual contact. Quite a lot closer to me, obviously, but she sees a lot during the week. So yeah. So it's
Sorry,
like
I think that just like broke me. That's so funny. It's funny, but it's also so cool.
Yeah. So so those two have a lot of subscribers. I mean, Project, obviously, she came in with a lot of subscribers already because she did the disability in media video, which I didn't know. It's not one that I'd come across. But Tal's just grown amazingly. It's like,
yeah,
just doing
like, that's
Tally Hall
all
content.
Tally Hall fans.
Yeah,
that's all Tally Hall fans.
Exactly. So it's like I'm on Discord, I'm on Reddit, and it's like people are talking about Tal, and I'm like, Tal again. But no, it's not rivalry at all. It's like I could never compete with him, and I subscribe to him. I don't know if it's before I was making content, but I subscribed to him quite early on. I can't remember which video it was. Probably one of the lyrics explained videos. But he did that mucka blucka for April Fool's Day. That's quite funny.
That made me laugh so hard.
Yeah. I'm like, what? What do you mean you've interpreted the lyric? And then he says what the title means. Like, well, I knew that. There's a lot of people who don't seem to realise what the title is.
Right.
Like,
Right.
come on. Maybe it's because I'm older. That's their comedy song.
Yeah, man, you had to make the chicken rap track somehow. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
It's their comedy song, and it's like, yeah, but it's very grown up. You see, if you see like a little kid singing it, it's like, should you be singing this? And like that is one of my son's favorite songs from Tally Hall. I mean, he's yeah. He's not like, I asked him the other day, I said, "Are you a Tally Hall fan?" And he said, "No, not really, but I like some of their songs and I like Rob." So I
Nice.
said, what about Lemon Team? And he said, no, I really like Lemon Team. And I have to be careful with those, obviously, because Nature Tapes about half of the song.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I do play stuff in the car, and it's like I shouldn't be playing this. Oh dear, I've just admitted that. Worst mum ever. But I know that Goose got into Tally Hall because of her kids, but it was all me for me.
Nice.
So like I say, played Hawaii Part 2 for my mum. I did play a few songs like while I was cooking while I was staying there. So she'll have heard some. And then I was singing along. She's saying, it's a pity you don't know the lyrics, isn't it? Thanks, Mum. I said, okay, so I might know all the lyrics. I think it was Just a Friend that I was singing along to. And I'm not the greatest singer.
But hey, you just get to have fun with it.
Yeah.
Just a friend is just a fun, goofy one. You know,
No,
speaking of the Tally Hall covers.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they released that. And I presume it was because they played it like every concert they did. So it's like they didn't have a choice.
Right. It's just part of their Tally Hall brand in a way.
Yeah. And I like glad they released Light and Night. That's a lovely song.
Yes. I still hope that was on I still hope that would be on streaming one day.
Yeah, that's
But
true. I mean, I've got I've got all three of the vinyl. Yeah, I'm not a collector. I don't get collect variations. I couldn't choose. Like, I have to have all three.
right, right. Yeah, it's like either having the lights off, having the lights on, or both.
Exactly.
I like how there was even the option for both, but it was like still can't decide.
No, exactly.
Yeah, thank you for doing this with me. I'm gonna try to think if there's some way I can verbally conclude for putting on the podcast. I love that with podcasts I can like cut out all of me like trying to figure out what to say, you know. It's great. It's great.
No, that's fine. No, it's been really great. Thank you for letting me ramble on about Tally Hall.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank
And
you.
thank you to everybody who's let me burrow my way into the fandom because I'm
Yes.
a late comer. And I do feel like an interloper at times, but then I'm finding a lot of fans sort of got into them around the same time as me, so I'm not the only interloper.
Yeah, yeah. It's Tally Hall fandom is just so broad too, and I think that part of it is just really cool because you could have people who became a fan of the band yesterday or people who are a fan of them since 2005. Like
Exactly.
it's pretty awesome. But yeah, but anyways, yeah, thank you again for recording with me. I don't
That's
know if you
fine.
want to like say where people can find you if they want to just see more of the stuff you get
Uh,
up to or more Tally Hall
yeah,
things.
sure. I mean, I'm on Twitter, Amazing Purple Girl. My handle is at Purple Bun. Bun is in like short for bunny because I love
Nice.
rabbits. And my YouTube is Amazing Purple Girl. And like I said, the logo is the A is in rainbow and the P is all different purples. There is another Amazing Purple Girl. That's my old channel. There's nothing
Okay.
Tally Hall on there. So yeah, that's where you can find me. I post in my community tab very frequently, especially with the plushies. I'm posting plushie photos every day. And then I do a Friday update every week, so let people know what plans I've got. I still have the final, I think it's quiz 7. So I have the final Tally Hall quiz, which was requested. I wasn't going to do any more, but someone said, "Oh, you should do Hawaii Part 2 reversed." So because there's only, let's say, 13 songs if you're counting variations and Candle on the Water, and that's a bit short. And also it's like, well, you'll know which songs there are.
Yeah.
Be easy to guess. I'm going to throw in some Joe Hawley in there as well. So my reverse ones are typically 18 songs. So this one will be 18 songs. So 13 from Hawaii and 5 from Joe Hawley. Mind Electric will be on there, but I'm going to reverse the forwards part rather than just using the
Okay.
reverse part because that's harder.
Right.
But yeah, I haven't decided. It might be tomorrow or it might actually be next weekend. Um, I do compete with my son for my laptop. Like he wants to play Fortnite and is like, I want to make videos. I do Let's Play still. So like I said, when I started my channel properly, it was only Let's Plays, and I didn't feel it was fair to stop the Let's Plays. And let's be honest, I didn't want to lose subscribers.
Right.
So yeah, it's now because it's Amazing Purple Girl and not This is Tally Hall or whatever. It
Right.
it can be whatever it wants to be. So
Exactly.
and obviously I don't just do Tally Hall. I think I've got 8 Lemon Demon edits now. So yeah, I started doing those as well. I've got one Willwood video, uh, but I haven't got a playlist because it's only one, and I don't know what it is. Like with Tally Hall, people make loads of edits, so I feel they don't care if people make edits. Lemon Demon, I feel Neil probably thinks they're quite fun. Will Woods, I scared of his reaction to edits. So but the one I did was a distractible one because Wade said he was the main character. So I had it going into the main character.
Perfect.
So yeah, so that's my content, do music edits, some serious video essays and quizzes and then let's
Yeah.
plays. So yeah,
Yeah.
like I say, I try to. So at the moment, I'm doing a game series, which is the Tale of Lonkey Island, um, which I'm in the middle of. I'm still doing demos. I know some people that like the Tally Hall stuff do watch the gameplays, but I think most people who watch my channel watch for Tally Hall. I work full time, so it's not very easy.
But yeah, but it still is cool you're making all of these content for all these different things that you like, and
Yeah.
that's very
I, I'm
awesome. And then,
I make what I enjoy. So it's like if I enjoy it, I think other people will enjoy it. They might not, but it's like just make it for me, throw it up there. If it gets views, it gets views. If it doesn't, then I know.
yep. But
Yeah.
hey, man, that's how it should be. That's
No, exactly.
pretty cool to yeah, making stuff that you enjoy.
Yes.
That is part of the reason why I'm doing this, because I knew I would like to do stuff like making a podcast and videos again, and I just procrastinated for too long. But
Oh,
now, here we are.
yay. No, I think it's really cool. I saw Tao comment on your first one that a podcast is great. It's what we need. And yeah, I totally agree. This is fantastic that you're doing this. And I look forward to watching more. No, what I
Thank
watched your
you.
first one. It's really good. It's just really
Thank
cool
you.
to hear what people have to say about certain things. So I'm looking forward to what you've got up your sleeve next.
Thank you. Yes, I have plans and schemes. Thank you for listening to Tally Talks. Right after we recorded this episode, there actually was news from Ruby Red 64, who's basically my news source now. Thank you, Ruby. But news that Youtooz has hinted at there being more Tally Hall related Youtooz in the future. There was also a giveaway for the Joe Hawley Youtooz prototype plushie that Ruby won. Congratulations. But yep, so new Youtooz soon, most likely. Thanks again for listening to the podcast, and stay tuned for our next episode next week. Now have a good day. By Tally Hall.